you've worked with some pretty big brands that were around before the whole TikTok Shop thing even existed. How have you helped them kind of get more adapted to this new age platform, as opposed to just selling to brick and mortar or just even things like Facebook or Instagram? Even how TikTok is so different, especially for certain categories. How have you helped them adapt?
Yeah, it's a great question. And we found that the brands that were willing to dip their toes in really got that first mover advantage. TikTok is not Amazon. When you have some of your leading Amazon sellers come to you and want to launch on TikTok and they're talking to you about branded keywords and your PPC strategy, they're not talking the right language. And so the brands that were willing to kind of forget what they know and play by TikTok's rules, those are the ones that we've seen the most success with. So are they leaning into the affiliate system? Are they tapping into the open and the tap program to
Mm,
make sure that they're reaching affiliates? Because majority of the key brands that I get to work with, majority of their sales come from affiliates. They don't come from organic posts. They're not coming from paid ads as much as they are from affiliates. So that's the type of thing that you've got to switch your brain with a little bit and support affiliate content. So that's one area that I'd say is the biggest shift for legacy brands and some of the ones I work on in terms of how do we go from managing PPC and A plus content to affiliate strategies and bringing in the right people to make content about your brand.
right. Right, and it's about picking the right you wanna make sure they're vetted as well too, which is very interesting,
Yeah.
and surrounding kind of that content, um, I know that was the story of how you've helped them adapt, but how have they adapted? I mean, they're used to this. I would say these bigger brands are used to this polished storytelling. They throw on they script an ad, they write it, they shoot it to perfection, whereas TikTok, not that stuff isn't scripted or not that stuff isn't polished, but it's vastly, I think, different than some of the commercials that these big brands might run. So, is there something else in there too that it's just as far as the same thing as adapting goes, they have just really tried it? Or is there something else there that you have maybe helped them bridge that cultural gap, again, between this polished storytelling and the, authenticity really of TikTok videos?
Yeah, absolutely. We get that all the time where we'll get a TV asset that they just want to run on platform because, hey, we have a video somewhere
Right.
and we've spent millions of dollars putting this together and making sure it's perfect and gone through all of our brand safety. And, a lot of the legacy brands that I work with have a lot of those controls on the brand messaging. But that doesn't work. That's not what you come to TikTok for. And I often talk about thinking of the consumer experience. When you open TikTok, and Pete, we got to get you back on TikTok. We have the average time on TikTok, a movie's length of time every single day.
Mm.
It is over 90 minutes. That means people are coming to TikTok during prime time. It's,
Right.
usually right after dinner for entertainment.
Mhm.
And so when you're scrolling through your For You page, you're thinking about what's entertaining, and that's what you're fighting for. If you're putting something on TV that you're mandated to watch that's a non-skippable ad, that's not the same thing that will work on TikTok.
Right.
So, step 1, throw that out the playbook. Let's
Right.
not, revisit that. But what we do want to think about is what is entertainment, and to your point, what is authentic for the brand. So, it could be shot on an iPhone. It could be focused on sound because it is such a sound on platform. And we were really the first ones in that space to be sound on.
Mhm.
And so thinking about how does your brand show up organically? One interesting example is brands today love seeing collaborations. So for one
Yeah.
that I've seen recently that really stood out to me is Dove and Crumble Cookies. Now, a match made in heaven, who doesn't love a good crumble cookie?
Oh, Dove
I
chocolate.
mean,
I was like, "What?"
yeah, couple thousand calories,
Right.
but you know
Yeah.
what? The
That's
body wash
true.
has got to be better than that. But it's a match made in heaven. It's something that consumers are looking for in crumble cookies that's so relevant, it's so active today with a brand like Dove that I feel like there can't be many people who don't know what Dove is. And so just finding fun ways to bring brands together and show up authentically on platform, that's what the key is. And you got to switch the thinking behind how to make messaging that shows your brand value, but in a TikTok first way.
Yeah, and it's so funny that you bring up the fact that some of these brands wanna bring their TV videos and just say, like, "Let's just run this on TikTok." This is I feel like it's sort of this, and I know we're going off back to Amazon a little bit, but It's sort
Yep.
of the same thing with Amazon where we don't wanna run our videos they look like commercials and people aren't gonna wanna watch them. We rather have these still shots, like play-by-plays or like a slideshow style. It makes it feel more, like you said, more authentic, more informational, more entertaining, all of the different good adjectives that you wanna hear about your video as opposed to, "This is boring. I feel like I'm watching an ad," kinda thing. So and
Yep.
again, from my time on TikTok, please don't look me up, at Pete Simsey. I have a lot of funny videos on there. If anyone wants me to run a video for their product, let me know.